Okay. We tarried until you got here. You told me to be late tonight. For those of you who were not here last night, we had a blowout last night. We only did a block. So tonight, to get back and destroyed, we are on Daf Mem Gimel Amud Aleph. Being a masochist, I just want to repeat the last thing we did last night, which is it's the same thing. I just want to make sure that it's clear. The two Mayor holds, if you forgot, the two procedures you have to make for Yaakov's benefit. The two procedures you have to make. You have to make Eruv Chatzeros among all the houses in the Chatzer. To make a Shitur Mevos among all the Chatzeros in the Mavui. Rameir holds you need both every Shabbos. Rabbanan arguing him. We haven't really seen Rabbanan yet. They're coming up in a few minutes. Rameir holds you need both. What if one guy forgot to make either procedure? So it depends. If he forgot to make Shituf but made the Eruv Tough Luck, it doesn't do any good. If, however, he did include himself in the Shituf, the more encompassing procedure, but not in the Eruv, he forgot that we gave him a pass for that one Shabbos. We'll let him go. And the reason why Rameir requires both procedures, both Eruv and Shituf, why Shituf is not sufficient, is because we're afraid Shema Tishtakach Toras Eruv. Maybe the concept of Eruv will be forgotten if we don't require both. Meaning, if we allowed the more encompassing procedure of Shituf, people would forget the concept of Eruv. Now, there were two interpretations of that, which we learned last night. One interpretation of that is that we're afraid if we allow Eruv without Shituf, or Shituf without Eruv, to do one without the other, so people might become accustomed to do Eruvin and not do Shituf. They're going to do one and not the other. And that's no good. They might also become accustomed the other way, to do Shituf without Eruv, but we're afraid that they're going to forget to do one and not the other. The other interpretation held that we're afraid that they'll forget to do both. A guy will come late one shop Friday afternoon, see that he won't see the Eruv, and Shituf they don't need, so he'll think you don't need anything, right? Again, if we would not require both. So one Amora held we're afraid you're going to forget one and not the other. The other Amora held we're going to forget both. We're afraid you're going to forget both. So what we ended up last night is that which Rameir said that if you did Eruv, but it didn't do Shituf by accident, I mean the opposite. You did Shituf but didn't do Eruv by accident, you get to wait for one Shabbos, that can only be like the opinion that we're afraid you're going to forget both. Because in this case, and we're not afraid you're going to forget both because you did participate in one of the procedures. But like the opinion, we're afraid you're going to forget even one. So then, even if you got just one procedure, we're afraid who knows what pattern that'll set, and therefore we can't let him get away with it even for one Shabbos. Okay? Does that sound very easy? It took us about 20 minutes last night to figure that out. Okay? Is that clear now? What? It's better? All right? That's what the word says. Now, fitting into the words, that's another question. But you got to trust me on that. It fits in. Okay? Now we're up to Pshita, Mem Gimel Amud Aleph, which is about halfway down the page, a little bit more than halfway down the page. That's by, if you look at the Gilyon HaShas, the second paragraph of the Gilyon HaShas on the left-hand margin, so right opposite the Gemara. Right opposite the beginning of the Gilyon HaShas is where Pshita in the Gemara. Everybody see that? Pshita. It's obvious. Now, what problem is that this is not obvious. Lieberman doesn't understand. He almost rips out his hair, although I think it was bald. But he almost rips out his hair trying to figure out what's going on here. But Reb Chaim Kanievsky has a beautiful, beautiful shot. Really a beautiful shot, which works out beautifully like the Rambam Paskins. So let me tell you the Rambam Psak, before we see it inside. The Rambam Paskins, when do you need both Eruv and Shituf? Not all the time. It's possible to combine even Rameir both procedures into one, which is what we do nowadays. You can take the sheet, if you make the sheet of bread and put it in one of the houses, then that includes both procedures. Because since the kids are in and around the Mavli and the Eruv see they're using bread, there's no problem. Not afraid that people are going to forget about the Eruv because they see, oh, you're using bread and you're putting in one of the houses. It must be that you require Eruv, not just Shituf. Okay? So for the Shituf, use bread and put in one of the houses, that suffices. Even going around there. That's what it's going to say. Pshita Marvin b'chatzeros. It's obvious. Normally do Eruv in the courtyard. And you do Shituf in the Mavli. Marvin b'chatzeros. Now you do Eruv in the courtyards. If they wanted to do Shituf in the Mavli through the Eruv Chatzeros, it does not work. However, I'm sorry. If they want to do the Eruv through the Shituf, meaning Shituf can be with what? Even wine, oil, any commodity. If you want to do the Eruv via the Shituf, that does not work. You want to do the Eruv by using the wine or the oil. And you should bear in mind, Shituf, of course, does not have to be in a house, right? When you're doing an Eruv, which is the correlation of all the conglomeration of all the houses in the Chotzer, so Eruv has to be in one of the houses. When you do, however, Shituf, which is a conglomeration of all the Chatzeros in the Mavli, so then the Shituf can be in any of the Chatzeros, not in one of the houses. So therefore, you cannot be Yotzei Eruv via Shituf. If you relied on Shituf Eruv, that doesn't work. A, because it's not the right commodity. B, because it's not in the right location. And that's what we're saying here, right? Im Ratzu L'Shtativ B'Mavli, as the tool for Eruv Chatzeros, Eina Mishtativ doesn't work. However, in the Shtativ B'Mavli, Im Ratzu L'Arev, if they did Shituf via the Eruv, that works. Marvin. The Tani, Marvin Mishtativ Ke'echa, Divrei Meir. At Taka, there's a price which tells us that you can do Eruv and Shituf together, even Korah Meir. Amazing concept. We said Korah Meir you can combine. Depends. When can't you combine? By putting the Eruv into the ship, by doing either one of the procedures as by itself, or by doing Shituf by itself, or by doing Shituf and trying to cover both. But if you do Eruv Chatzeros and intend to cover both, that works. The Rambam says the minhag is to take 2 pieces of bread. Nowadays, take 2 pieces of bread for Eruv Chatzeros. One is supposed to connote the Eruv, and the other is supposed to connote the Shituf. But really, we're being yotzei with 1 piece of bread for both. Again, what does our mayor mean? I can't be yotzei the sheep with one alone. If I did Shituf and tried to cover both bases, or if I did Eruv Chatzeros in a way which was not intended to cover both bases. But if I did Eruv Chatzeros in a way which intends to cover both bases, then that works. Haloch l'maisa even Korah Meir. Now all this is Rabbi Meir. The Chacham Rabbi Marvin b'Chatzeros mutarim Ma'ar Chatzeros or Mishtafim Mavli. You never need both, either or. In Ma'ar Chatzeros mutarim b'Chatzeros. If they did an Eruv in the Chatzeros without intending to cover the Mavli, mutarim b'Chatzeros v'asur b'Mavli. And of course, the mutar and the chatzer and also the mavli, because nothing covered the mavli, assuming they only did Eruv Chatzeros. However, here's the clincher where they argue in Rabbi Meir explicitly, even if all they did was Shituf, no Eruv at all, nonetheless, mutar v'kan, that suffices according to Rabbanan. You don't need both procedures. If you did Eruv by itself, obviously it doesn't apply to the mavli, because you limited yourself. But if you did the more encompassing procedure of the Shituf, that encompasses the necessity and overrides the necessity to have an Eruv as well, according to Rabbanan. Again, we do not paskin like Rabbanan because we say Noagu Ha'am, the nation conducted itself according to Rabbi Meir to require both, or that the Eruv should be done with the express intention to cover the Shituf. Okay? Says the Gemara further. Amaran, Rabbi Meir responded to them in this brayso. I can't accept that. If you accept Shituf in lieu of an Eruv, people are going to forget the whole concept of Eruv. They're going to forget. They won't know. And and we need to have both because the Mavi is vis-a-vis the Chatzeros like the Chatzer is vis-a-vis the house. Each of them is separate and distinct. Again, we have to enforce both procedures, otherwise people are not going to realize that Eruvin are necessary. Okay? How many Chatzeros do you have to have in a Mavli? Rabbi Shmuel Tarvei and Rami, they both said, Ein Pochet Shtayim, no less than 2. Rabbi Yaakov Brach B'Shem B'Yochad said, Afilu Chotzer Mikan, even if you have a Chotzer on one side, without any houses. Ubayis mikan v'chanus mikan, and a house and a store on the other side without any chotzer. That already requires shituf. Why is that? Because you have two houses, a chotzer and a mobli. So in that case, they have to do eruv chatzeres for the chotzer, shituf v'yavos for the mobli, even though there's only one chotzer, right? But sin and I really have to make that clear. Even though they already, even though their houses are not in the chutzner, right? There's a chutzner on one side, houses on the other side, Movi in the middle. Still, they have to do both eruv chatzeres and shitufei mevos. They have to do eruv chatzeres for the chutzner, which is not adjacent to their houses, and they have to do shitufei mevos for the Movi, which is in fact adjacent to their houses. Okay, very big chiddush, but that's what we're saying. Is that clear? Okay. Says the word further. A Rav Nachman bar Yaakov boy, Movi ain't po. He stated, Movi ain't pochus mishtei chatzeros. No, you can't have Movi if you have less than two chatzeros, and chatzer ain't pochus mishnei batim. And each chatzer has got to have two houses inside it. Now, Movi shorko v'rachbo shava. If you have a Movi,
definitional statement for Rav Nachman.
yes, he's arguing in the previous Gemara. Say it's not enough to have one chatzar and two houses. You need two chatzeros, each of which has two houses. Okay? Mavi shorko v'rochbo shove, a mavi which has equivalent length and width, it's a perfect square. Eino nitar b'lechi v'koira elo b'pasim k'chatzar. It's not enough to have a lechi or a koira, either or. It needs double l'chayim, just like a chatzar does. So even though it's a mavi, if it's perfectly square, that's the way it goes. Shmuel shal Rav Kamorko Yeser Arachbo. What is to be the off balance? How much longer does that have to be than wide in order to consider to be a mavi and not a chatzar? Says more kosher. Who amarle kosher? Who amarle kosher? Why? Because hachin darayo the Arad Yisrael merabon. In Eretz Yisrael, where the standards were set, the chatzeros are perfectly square. So any deviation from that perfect square constitutes a mavi. And if it's a mavli, then all you need is one koira or one lechi. You don't need two l'chayim. Okay? So actually nowadays it's almost impossible to imagine a chutzner, because the chutzner must be a perfect square with two houses fronting on it. Almost impossible. So really what we do nowadays is called Eruvin Chatzeros, so someone a misnomer. It's not Erev Chatzeros. Do we have a chotzer? You ever see a chotzer? All our things are what? Mevos.
That's only for Rav Nachman bar Yaakov.
Yeah, we pass him like him.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. Okay? I'm Rabbi Yasser. Rabbi Yasser said, Adano Tamon, while I was still in Bavel, Sham Yisco Rabbi Yehuda Shal Shmuel, I heard Rabbi Yehuda asking Shmuel. First two things you heard are not relevant there, and then the third thing will be. If you shiklo mace, if a person sets aside a shekel for machtis a shekel, and then he drops dead, what's that? Where's his machtis a shekel go? Amalei Iplun David goes to korbanos, voluntary korbanos to the Beis Hamikdash. Motor Hasir Seifa Shalom. If a Kohen Gadol brought, how many pancakes bring a day? Pancakes Kohen Gadol bring each day. I think 12. I forgot too. I was hoping one of you guys remembered. But I think it's 12. 6 in the morning, 6 in the afternoon. So he brought half of them and then dropped dead in the middle of the day. Like Yom Kippur, right? Didn't go out of the Kodesh Kodashim. So he dropped dead. So what happens with the rest of his flour for that day? You can't do anything with them. Meaning destroy them, because he's not Kohen Gadol anymore. Rabbi Lezer Omer Yipul Dava, you sell them and you buy with the proceeds the money to bring korbanos to Dava. Now, as I said, those are not relevant to our sugya. The third one is Bochum, they asked in front of Shmuel. In front of Shmuel? I think it's in front of Rabbi Yasser when he said this. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's in front of Rabbi Yasser. If I'm in one courtyard, this is a question the Bavli asked too. I'm in one courtyard. You're in another courtyard. You want to allow me to carry your courtyard. You want to be about to reshus to me. I'm not in the same courtyard as you. It's still valid for me to take over the authority over your courtyard, even though in your house in the other courtyard, even though I don't live in the same courtyard as you. That's Gemara's question. So I'm alone. No,
That's not kind of the issue we had before about the bittul requires not just for the prior owner just giving up possession. The second owner has to assume control.
Right.
This is tied.
Yeah, the question is how we. I think so. The question is how we assume. To what extent you can assume control.
Right. So that was only. I think that was only the view of Rameir, wasn't it?
So what?
That bittul requires not only the act of the prior owner abandoning possession, but the new owner assuming possession.
That may be, but here it's much more reason to require it since it's another chutzner. How does one affiliate with the other? If not, that you can be allowed to specifically relinquish in a directed fashion. Because if it's a chutzner which is common, and I just relinquish it and don't have to be makta to the other people, alright, but automatically their ownership envelops whatever is there. It encroaches upon those people who revato their rishus and takes over their rishus. However, you go from chutzner to chutzner, so that's much more of an effort because there's no automatic spreading there. So therefore the question is whether it can work from chutzner to chutzner nonetheless or not. Is that relatively clear? Sorry. Okay. So in any event, bon kume Rabbi Yasa. Just like you said over there. If you leave kalim in your chutzner, we all know this is true. They didn't originate in the house on Shabbos, rather they originated in the backyard, so you can carry them throughout the backyard and from backyard to backyard without restriction, without eruv, right? The only eruv is necessary for stuff which was in your house at the beginning of Shabbos, right? But stuff which is in the yard at the beginning of Shabbos, you can carry around the yard and from yard to yard without a problem. So ask why Bunker Rabbi Yosef that carry them around the yard without any additional tikkun. In the Kavasa we say a similar thing. The kalim which spent Shabbos in the Mavi can be carried in the Mavi. Now take out the vav. B'Shabbos Shalin La. When they were learning Masechah Shabbos, they asked him this question. They asked Rabbi Yosef this question. But Lagivun, he didn't answer them. Why? The law Rabbi Yossi Amar, Rabbi Yossi would never say anything, Ela komi love asra, unless it was the word in the proper place. Next word should be kad. So therefore, they waited, and kad the asun Eruvin, when they got to Eruvin, which is the proper place for this question, then Rabbi Yossi responded, Amarulam b'shem Rabbi Yochanan, Sene Rabbi Yochanan, Kalim sheshavsu b'mavi, Kalim which were in the mavi from the beginning of Shabbos, but talos mavi and carried them throughout the mavi. Rav Amari Matalino Samela Barba Amos. You only carry them 4 Amos no more. Rabbi Yossi Rabun, Rav Kedaite, Rabbi Yochanan Kedaite. They both follow the line of reasons. Rabbi Yochanan do Amar Koira Materes Blo Shituf. Rabbi Yochanan holds that a Koira, a beam across the front, enclose the Mavi, even without the Shituf procedure. Have they do Amar Matalti Mechora Mavi. He holds and carry throughout the Mavi. Because he holds it's enclosed. However, Rav said that a koyer does not work without a shituf. So without the benefit of a shituf, you can't carry more than 4 amos. Okay, they're consistent. If you can carry stuff from one end of the movie without restriction, even without a shituf, why do you do shituf? Why bother? Says, well, I'll tell you why. It's a very good question. In order to unite all the chatzeros. So you carry from the chatzah to the mavi. Without the sheet of a Rabbi Yochanan, you carry anything from one end of the mavi to the other, no matter what the distance, as long as you have a koila. Yes, but you can't carry a thing from the chatzah to the mavi. So that's an sheet of to allow you to carry from the chatzah to the mavi. Okay? Very simple, right? Now, forget about simplicity. Now, the next Gemara, nobody understands. Not one. Except me. The truth is that I'm going to give you a shot, which is based on the Rambam. The Rambam obviously learned this Yerushalmi. The Maggid Mishnah says the halacha the Rambam has a parakeh halacha you give me Yudal. It's right from this Yerushalmi. The Rambam learned the Pshat in Yerushalmi, which only requires a small bulldozer to put it. All the Pshatim, the other Achronim and Rishonim say require several large earth movers. So this is on the steam shovel scale. This is a relatively minor doichak. Okay, let's learn. So I'm going to teach you like the Rambam. Shita nismachim al shita shituvei mavui means, well, as he said till now, if one guy forgot to make an eruv, but he did make a shituf, right? We obviously rely on that. That was he said till now. He forgot for one Shabbos to rely on that. Ma'u lismoch al shituvei chatzeros, can rely on shituf for all the chatzeros. Meaning, let's say every single person in this mavui is a shlamazel. They all forgot to make Eruv Chatzeros. Not just one guy. Every single one forgot. Can I still rely on the Shituf? Or is it only if just one guy forgot? You understand the question? Very simple question, straightforward, right? Rabbi Yaakov, Rabbi Zila, Taveyon, they both said, Chad b'shem Arukvan, one name Arukvan, v'chad b'shem Nachman bar Yehuda, nismachin al Shitufei Chatzeros. Yes, if they're all Mishlamazos, and they all forgot, you can rely on the shituf in the mavos for the chatzeros. See how the Rambam learned shituf in chatzeros? To rely on the shituf in the mavui for the chatzeros b'Shabbos Rishonim. For one Shabbos, midoichak, because they're up against the wall. That's it. Not longer than that. Now, Rabbi Yosef Rebun slaps on another qualification. Rabbi Yosef Shem of Yehuda. Kedain, it also has to be like those Inche Bardalia, the men of Bardalia. She'ena makpidim al prusa, it should be prusasa. They're not makpid on getting their own bread back. When they throw stuff in the pot, they're willing to get back whatever they get. And here too, look, after all, you need Erev Chatzeros. It's Erev Chatzeros. So in lieu of the Erev Chatzeros, for one Shabbos, rely on the fact that they are buddy-buddy. They don't mind sharing their bread together. And if one guy throws one challah to the pot, the other guy throws the other challah to the pot, they're perfectly willing to take back the other guy's challah instead of their own. So that supplants the Erev Chatzeros. The shituf they have. They forgot all to make. But the fact that they have a shituf and they are united, they're good friends, that works. Okay? Says Umar, Rabbi Boy B'Shem Rabbi Yehuda said, even they're not like the people of Bardalia. Meaning, even if they're on Makbid, and they're not going to share their bread, and they're very meticulous in getting back exactly what they give into the pot, nonetheless, for one Shabbos it works. For one Shabbos, you can rely on the sheet. Okay? Says what tiny. Now, along these lines, there was the Shlamazel Club meeting, and they were saying, when is the Shlamazel Club picked to have its picnic? Close. Worse. Friday afternoon. Friday afternoon, just before Shkia. The annual Shlamazel Club picnic. Okay? So they're sitting there at the Chelm Society, right? So the thing that says a mice that happened. Tani, Meister Shem Mesubin, Ba'avir Chotze, they're all sitting. Now, look what's. At least if you're going to have a meal Erev Shabbos, don't have a picnic. Because if a picnic is bad, because where does an Erev have to be? Where? Erev Chatzeros. In a house. But the Shlamazel Club was having an outdoor picnic, right? So they're having an outdoor picnic, Erev Shabbos, the Bein HaShmoshos. The kids in Bein Shabbos, the Shabbos began. So after Shabbos began, they said, "Oy vey, we forgot to make an Erev. We were sitting outside. What is our fate?" Right? Asmul to Kumi Shmuel. So it came in front of Shmuel. I guess it came across the left. Went in front of Shmuel. Rabbi says, since they started eating together from before Shabbos, mutter. We let them get away with it. Amazing concept. That's considered Erev Chatzeros. But we learned several major chidushim, says Mar. This teaches us even they're in the airspace, they're not inside a house, right? This teaches us even they didn't make a separate eruv. Still, they're off the hook. They didn't even intend to make this an eruv. They were having their Shlomo Hazel Club annual picnic. There's no intent to make an eruv. This tells us that two rishuyos cannot be used simultaneously. Nobody understands this line. The Korban says just take it out. That's not relevant here.
It's the same concept as the person who was slept.
Yeah, but this is much more lenient. You can't hear me when I shout.
Yes, they can. You said something about
Take out this line. I'd say they can't use this two domains simultaneously, but it's a non sequitur. It doesn't follow anything we wrote before. So just take it out. Okay? There are people who try and explain what it might mean, but I didn't see anybody who made me feel happy about it. So what are you asking again?
It's the same concept as the Erev sleeps.
It's similar, but here it's much more of a chiddush. Because there you don't need a procedure. He's not acquiring an Erev Tchum in there. He's getting the 2,000 amos which any human being has. Here, there's no automatic Erev Chatzeres which every human being has, right? Yeah, we're giving them an Erev Chatzeres as if they made one. It's a great kula. Okay, it says the Gemara.
Isn't this line Shein Shtei Rishus B'Shams Rishus Achas? Isn't it like a Hebrew Christian line?
No.
No?
Oh, come on. First of all, there's have to be Shalosh Rishuyos. You want to say Zoroastrians.
Right. Should be.
Yeah. You meant Zoroastrians, because they have two.
Yeah, well, that's...
Yeah, but in Eretz Yisrael, they wouldn't have Zoroastrians. Only Christians. Okay. That gets an A+ for creativity, though. I have heard
Effort?
Yes.
Always believe in effort.
Yes, few more creative shatim in the Yerushalmi than that. Okay. Says the Gemara, furthermore, here we rely on Shitufi Chatzeres, the first Shabbos, we're up against the wall. Now this is not exactly Shitufi Chatzeres, right? Because here, it wasn't true Shituf, right? It was, but the point is, it was open air. It didn't fulfill the criteria of Erev Chatzeres, right? It was open air. I don't even know if it was bread. I think somebody says it was wine. So we don't know, it didn't meet any of the criteria of Erev Chatzeres, so therefore, the fact that it works indicates that for one Shabbos to rely even on a Shituf, because it's not qualitatively different than a Shituf.
Can I get one thing straight about Shituf and Bavos? I was under the impression that the commodity used is limited to bread, wine, and oil. No, it's any commodity.
Mangoes, anything. Okay? Says more further. I don't know why I picked mangoes, but it works. Alright, says more further. Shita. Erev Tzorech Bayis. And Erev needs a house. Shituf Maushi Tzorech Bayis. The Shituf have to take place in the house. Milsa Derav. Now, this is all messed up here. Reb Chaim Kanievsky changes it. They're just words here and there, but you'll see as I read. Milsa Derav Amara. We have a statement named of Rav, which one does not bring down, and we don't know what it is, but there was a statement named of Rav. Amara tells us, Shituf Tzorech Bayis. Shituf does require a house. Milsa de Shmuel Amra Shituf Ein Tzorech Bayis. It does not require a house. Masnisa, the Mishnah, the following Brisa, Pliga Alei de Shmuel. Argues on Shmuel. Obviously Shmuel doesn't argue on Brisa. That's the Brisa argues on Shmuel. What does it say in the Brisa? It says Shituf no stobe beishar. Shituf you put into a gatehouse. Well, if you put it in a gatehouse, it sounds like it needs a house. You can't just put it in the open air. Rabbi Boom Barachir B'Shem Rabbi Avo B'Shem Rabbi said, nevertheless, we paskin like Shmuel. Noisto bein ba'avi chotzer bein ba'avui mavui. The shituf does not have to go to the house. You go to the airspace. either of the chotzer or the movi makes no difference. Okay? Next Mishnah. Shtei chatzer zu lifnim mizu. Now this is a Mishnah which actually gives three opinions. And I never understood this, and I didn't understand explaining the Bavli. That's why we have Yerushalmi, so I can understand things. We have three opinions in this Mishnah. Tanakama, Rabbi Akiva, and Chachamim. Tanakama, Rabbi Akiva, and Chachamim. Tanakama says that regel seres, regel asur bimkoma. So I'm going to explain all these concepts after I say it. Regel asur bimkoma oseres. Rabbi Akiva says afilu regel amuteres bimkoma oseres. Chachamim say ein regel oseres. What are these three opinions? You weren't expected to know them ahead of time. You will not be tested on this. Now, what? That's true. After 120 years, I can't guarantee anything. Now, Tanakama holds regular oseres b'mkomo oseres shelo b'mkomo. If we didn't make an eruv, now we are an inner courtyard, and you are an outer courtyard, even if you didn't make an eruv, since we have access and exit through you, you can't carry on Shabbos. We are regel hasura, because we didn't make an eruv among ourselves, and we're oseres shelo b'mkomo, we asur you, because we go through you. So your eruv is no good either, even though you made an eruv. However, Tanakama holds regular muteres b'mkomo, but let's say the inner courtyard made an eruv. Not with the outer courtyard separately. The inner courtyard made an eruv, the outer courtyard made an eruv. In that case, we concede, says Tanakama, it doesn't answer. Why? Because it's not a regular asur b'mkomo. Only if the inner courtyard is in of itself tainted by not having made an eruv, do the asur by their access through the outer courtyard. But if they themselves made an eruv for themselves, they don't asur the outer courtyard. Right? Kiva argues, says even regular muteres b'mkomo, even though the inner courtyard made their own eruv, since they didn't make an eruv with the outer courtyard, they just walk right through them, so therefore they asur the outer courtyard. Rabbanan hold, it makes no difference. I can never asur another courtyard by walking through it. Whether I'm allowed to carry my own courtyard or not, I can't asur your courtyard. Okay, so those are three different opinions. Okay? So let's see the inside. One is within the other. One is behind the other. If the inner guy made the eruv and not the outer guy, hapnimis muteres, then the inner one is muter. V'achitzoyna asura, the outer one is asur. Whoops. All right, of course. Yeah, or is it the inner one is mutter, the outer one is asur. The outer one is asur. The outer one didn't make the outer one didn't make an eruv, right? Obviously, the outer one is asur because they didn't make an eruv. Now, what about the other way? What if the outer one did make and not the inner one? Then they're both asur. Why? Hi, the outer one made an eruv, but it has the regular, the pnimis did, the inner one didn't make an eruv, and they're regular asura b'mkomo. They're forbidden to carry their own place. Therefore, since they have access to the outer courtyard, they asur the outer courtyard as well. That's all Tanakama. Rabbi Akiva goes a step further, as I mentioned to you already. Right? I skipped. Sorry. If each one made an eruv by itself, each one may carry in its own domain. Why is that? Because it's regular muteres b'mkomo. If the inner one made an eruv and the outer one made an eruv, they can't carry it together because they made separate eruvin. But since the inner one is muter to carry, they don't asur by their access the outer one. Okay. Now Rabbi Akiva Akiva says in this case, even though they both made eruvin, the outer courtyard is asur. Because the right to walk, which the inner courtyard has on the outer courtyard, asurs the outer courtyard, despite the fact that both of them made their own separate eruvin. Tough luck, right? Even regular muteres b'mkomo, even so that which is allowed to get its own place, when it accesses through the outer courtyard, asurs the outer courtyard. That's all. Tanakama and Rabbi Akiva. V'chachomrim ain't pieces of regular seres. The whole concept doesn't exist. They deny the whole thing from beginning to end. There's no Jesus of regular, which answers. Either I'm part of your courtyard, and therefore I ask you if I didn't participate in the Eruv, or I'm not part of your courtyard, and I can't impact upon you. So therefore, there's no God to Jesus of regular courtyard. Rabbi Yisrael said both Tanakama and Rabbi Akiva to Rabbi Akiva. They follow the tenet, which is expressed by Rabbi Akiva, which is Drisas Regel Oseris, right? Amar Jesus Regel Oseris, there's the concept of Jesus Regel, which forbids. Rabbi La, B'Shem Rabbi Yanai, Drisas Regel Asura V'Oseris. Rabbi La said in the name of Rabbi Yanai that Tanakama, however, differs with Rabbi Akiva, and that what? He always says Drisas Regel of a regel which is Asura B'Mkoima, of the Pnimis which didn't make an error, that answers if they have access to the outer one, not where the Pnimis had an error by itself. In that case, you argue Rabbi Akiva. Okay? We are not finished with that. Now, Shachar Echa Min HaChitzonim V'lo Irei. This is a case which we had in the Bavli. You know, maybe I should find the Perush. Yaakov, on that shelf over there's a Perush Chai. It's a brown safer. Just help if I can show you. Slowing down. Thank you. By the way, I'm pleased to announce that I suffered my first theft yesterday of a contemporary Eruv. People are actually stealing the books now to get them. I had one in the base medrash, which somebody had asked me to bring so they could buy it. It's there now. It's back. Oh, so they put it back. Oh, good. Okay. It wasn't there this morning.
It was there yesterday.
I know it was there yesterday. But this morning when I looked for it, it wasn't there. What? They borrowed it. Okay, fine. I was impressed that they were stealing my book now. Abby Hoffman. Abby Hoffman.
It was Abby Hoffman, right? Abby Hoffman.
See, sports I don't know, but it's history I know.
J.D. Drew hit two. Being obnoxious.
Here. You have two chatzeros, right? One 4 here, right? So all the pictures are basically the same. But you get the idea. So what? Let's say one of these guys forgot to make an Eruv, right? One of these guys. Apnimis muteres, so the inner guys are muter because they made an Eruv, right? V'achitzayna asura. The outer guys are usher because one of their guys forgot. If one of these guys forgot, the inner guys.
That's not according to the Chachamim.
Right, this is all according to Rabbi Akiva. Or no, according to Rabbanan, right? Either according to the Kormei says according to the Kama of Rabbi Akiva. Okay, that's what's going to come out in the next case. Now, if one of these guys forgot to make an Eruv, so then Shtein Asuros. Then both us, these guys because one of them forgot to make an Eruv, and these guys because they have Jesus Regel. And they're Regel Asura, right? Why are they Regel Asura? Because they forgot to make an Eruv, right? So it sounds like if they both made an Eruv, now this is how the coordinator proves it's Tanakama. Sounds like if they made a legitimate Eruv by themselves, and they made a legitimate Eruv by themselves, nobody forgot, then they can carry and they can carry. Of course, not back and forth, but they can both carry. Whereas that can't be going to Rabbi Akiva, because like Rabbi Akiva, even if they made an Eruv separately, they still can't carry back, and they still can't carry. These guys can't carry because there's Drisas Regel, even though it's Muteris being Koima, but the fact that they're allowed to carry, they're allowed to walk through here, they have access, cancels the Eruv of the outer guys. Now I have to be intellectually honest. Lieberman goes through great contortions, tremendous contortions, to try and make our Mishnah work out like Rabbi Akiva. And he has legitimate reasons to do so based on the Gemara. The thing is that Reb Chaim Kanievsky, he out Lieberman. He found a Tosefta with a slightly different girsa, which undermines the necessity for Lieberman to go through the contortions. Okay? So I'll tell you that when we get there. So therefore, the Mishnah will work out being Tanakama, who says regular muteres mimkoima doesn't answer. Only regular asur mimkoima answers. Okay?
The answer is Lieber never finished the Tosefta Kipshuta. So
He did though. Did it even? I think so. I think there are 12 volumes. All right. After we finish Yerushalmi, we start Tosefta. Then we'll check it. We'll check it. All right. That's next on the list for 2002. All right. So now, now let's say they all joined together and made one eruv between the two chatzeros. However, there's an interesting kula here. If each courtyard only had one house in it, each courtyard only had one house, so then it's not necessary for them to make Eruvin. Not necessary for them to make an Eruv. I forgot why. Right, because the Yachid, if you have an individual here and an individual here, even if it's obvious really, even though without the benefit of Eruv, he's Tristas HaRegel HaMuteres B'Imkoimo, right? So he can of course walk through here. He can of course walk through here and not answer it. So don't need any Eruv in that case. Okay? Everything is mutter in that case. Alright. Says the Gemara, Shachach, yeah. Okay, now here's where the Reb Chaim Kanievsky throws in three words. Nastu Eruvin B'Chitzono. See, Lieberman learns that there's one continuous case here. Chaim Kanievsky basically Tosefta says there are two separate cases, and that avoids him all the troubles. So I'm not even going to tell you what the troubles are. So the first case is Nas Eruvin Chatzor. They put the Eruv over here, and Shach Echad Min Chitzon V'lo Erev, and one of the other outer guys forgot to make an Eruv. So everybody's us here. Asura, the outer guys are us Shlo Erva. One of them didn't participate. V'apnimis Asura, and the inner guys are us Shenosu Erva Makamasa, because where do they put the Eruv? The idiots. They put the Eruv out here, right? They put the Eruv in a place where they can't get to it, because this courtyard now let's carry it. So nobody is out to carry. In that same case, Shachad Echo Shal Echo Min Apnimis V'lo Erev also. And if let's say one of the inner guys forgot to participate in Eruv, so same result. Hapnimis Asura, the inner guys are also because Shaloi Erva, one of them didn't make the Eruv. V'Achitzaina Asura, the outer guys are also as well. Shenasei Ruah Makam Asur. Their Eruv is in an Asur place. Shadrisa Asaregel Lo Seres. It's in a place where the Drisa, where they're the place where the Pnimis, which is the place of Drisas Regel, which answers them, meaning they can't really get at it. Now, switch cases. Nostu Eruam Ba Pnimis. Why did they put the Eruv in here? And Shochach Echad Min HaChitzono V'lo Erev, and one of the outer guys forgot to make an Eruv. Then, different ballgame. Nicha HaChitzono Asur Shlo Erva. The outer guys can't carry because they didn't make an Eruv. HaPnimis Lama. What you Lama here means, but what are you going to do about the inner courtyard? Not why, but what? Is the shaykh to say about them they put the Eruv in a Asur place? Certainly not. They didn't put the Eruv in an Asur place. So what are you going to say? Right, because where's the Eruv? The Eruv is in here. Who forgot? They forgot. So it's not B'makom, for the Chitzayna for sure they're lost. They're from following. But the B'nimis, did they place the Eruv in an Asur place? No. Because they all on the inside participate in the Eruv. Seattle guy forgot. Ela what? Maybe you'll say, Ela Drisas Regel O Seres. What about Drisas Regel? Hareinka Drisas Regel O Seres. There's no Drisas Regel. Drisas Regel is out, not in, right? So there's no problem. The bottom line is here, head. Should be mutter. Right? Shouldn't be mutter? Says the Gemara, no. Psych you out. Rabbi Yassim, he came, once they all put it together, taflak, nasu kulu on rishus achas, they all become run rishus. And therefore, if any one of them forgets, even one of the inner ones, too bad. Because now it's not two separate chatzeres of 4. To all participate in Erev, it's one large chatzer of 8. And if anybody forgot anywhere in the configuration, that's too bad.
That's not the way it was originally planned.
Oh yeah, they all participate together. Yeah. Now, as the Gillian Ashas points out, the Bavli argues. The Bavli holds in this case, the Pnimis can say, they can say we'll lock our door and we'll use our inner courtyard by ourselves. They argue. They say they can, achtel dasha tishtamish be'anpei nafshu, something like that. That's the language used. So they can just say shalom Yisrael. Here, I think there's even a place where there's a picture of that here. Here they have a daka, meaning that they have a barrier between the two. So they can just say, we'll close our door and we'll use it ourselves. So Teitaka holds, Bavli holds, with the inner courtyard can divorce itself from the outer courtyard. But the Yerushalmi holds not that way. Yerushalmi says once they committed to go together, they cannot be rent asunder, and therefore it's no good. Okay? Now, Rav Chuna said, B'Shem Rav, this is really a non sequitur. I don't know exactly how it got here. But ain't Torah's chotzer lakum, ain't Torah's daka lakum. There's no concept of a chotzer by a goy. We'll explain what that means. There's no concept of a daka, of a fence by a goy. Now, the fence I'm talking about here is not a true fence, but rather like a barrier. See, that's a daka. There's no concept of that kind of daka, a barrier by a goy. What are we talking about? Says the Gemara, ain't Torah's daka lakum. Oh, I just said, sorry. I start middle line. Ain't Torah's chotzer lakum. Now the Grach Chaim Kanievsky changes that. Liederman doesn't. Liederman says a very strange thing. Says that chotzer means daka. Instead of changing the girsa from chotzer to daka, he says no, chotzer is a type of daka. No, it doesn't mean here courtyard. It means something else. But in any event, I guess he slipped up a little bit towards the end of this parak. I don't know. He said a whole bunch of strange things here at the end. So he says ain't Torah's, or he says ain't Torah's daka lakum. Again, changing the girsa. Meaning shim shali bel yoina. If you had an upper floor and a lower floor, the guy lived upstairs, the Jew lived downstairs. They both shared a chutzner. The guy says, you know what, Yankel, I know if I use the chutzner on Shabbos, you can't carry, right? Unless you're socher rishus for me. So I'll tell you what, I'll do you a favor. I'll put up a barrier so I can't go down into the chutzner. That's a daka. Ain't Torah's daka lakum. We don't trust him for a minute. He's going to go past the barrier. So what do you have to do, in fact? Socher rishus. The fact that he put up a barrier and promised to remove himself, unacceptable, insufficient. Okay? Shimshai bel yona at marina lasser. He's going to come down to lasser means to spazier, to walk around, right? He's going to come down to walk around. You can't trust him. Doesn't work. Now, ain't Torah's chotzer lakum. What is ain't Torah's chotzer lakum? Shima yashari b'pnimis. If you have two chatzers, one beyond the other. And you have a guy in the inner one and a Jew in the outer one. So then, at Motzia Lusser is going to come out through the other one. He has Drisas Regularly Yasers. Now it's interesting. If you have the Chaim Kanievsky says that the Chiddush in this Gemara is if you have one Jew, said in the Mishnah, you one Jew in the outer courtyard, one Jew in the inner courtyard, then we don't see Drisas Regularly Yasers, right? Remember we said in the Mishnah, one and one, there's no Drisas Regularly Yasers. It's okay. Not if the inner one is a goy. If the inner one is a goy, we don't say that. And he says, because we're afraid if we allow this case, he gives a reason for it. He says, I don't know exactly what the reason is, but I hypothesize that the reason is because if we allow this case, the guy to get away, people will not be able to distinguish and discern, and they'll think you never need to be socher rishus. They never need to rent from the goy. So even though it's a single goy, a solitary goy on the inside, and a solitary Jew on the outside, and were it to be a case of two solitary Jews, then there would not be a problem. Each one can carry in his own courtyard, because I don't say Drisas Regel in that case. So it's the inner guy is a goy, then I say Drisas Regel, and he answers the outer guy until there's Chiras Rishus. They're not in the same courtyard. Not in the same courtyard. I assume. We're afraid they're going to live in the same courtyard, but here they're not in the same courtyard. So I assume that's the issue. Rabbi Lo B'Shem Eliezer said, Yesh Toras Chotzer Lakum. There is a Katz Chotzer by Goyim. Shemayu Yisrael V'Akum Dorim B'Pnimis. If there's a Jew and a Goy in the inner courtyard, and in the end, now I want to throw in here what some of the Farshim say. There's in the outer courtyard, there's one Jew. So there are two in the inside courtyard, one Jew, one Goy. There's one Jew in the outer courtyard. L'olam eino oiser. Now, Loila means he never does Aser. Lieberman, although he has no basis for this, wants to say that instead of Loilam, he says, Dorim B'Pnimis O Ba'aliyah. Because remember, we spoke about a second floor, and the second floor is not mentioned here. So he wants to say that it means the second floor. It's not Loilam, but Ba'aliyah. Very difficult. So in any event, let's not like Lieberman. Shema Yisrael V'Akum Dorim B'Pnimis Loilam Ein Aser. It's not forbidden Achu Shneim Yisrael, until there are two Jews in the outer courtyard and one Goy in the inner courtyard. Interesting thing. He says, when is there? If there are two, there's a Jew and a Goy in the inner courtyard, and one Jew in the outer courtyard. Then I say the Goy is as if he's not there. Dirasakum Kamandalei Sadami. Okay, I don't look at the Goy. There's two Jews, one Jew on the inside, one Jew on the outside. We said when one and one, you don't have Drisas, it's not Drisas Regel Seres. So too, even though there's a Goy on the inner courtyard besides the Jew, it's not going to be Drisas Regel Seres. Okay? I guess because they don't need Chiras Rishus. Right? Because there it's one on one in the same chotzer. Chiras Rishus is not necessary, so therefore he's not going to answer the outer guy either. When is the inner Goy answer the outer Yisrael? When it's one Goy in the inside, one Jew in the outside. Hypothetically, people do live that way because they're not in the same courtyard. In that case, the presence of the Goy in the inner courtyard answers the Jew in the outer courtyard because he has access through him. But where in the inner courtyard there's one Jew and one Goy, and the outer courtyard there's there's one Jew, one Goy in the inner courtyard, right? And there's a single Jew in the outer courtyard. So then there's no problem, right? Because the inner Jew doesn't need to be Sorah Rishus from the Goy because he's one-on-one. So wherever that Goy is, if he's not there. So it reverts to a case of one Jew on the inside, one Jew on the outside, not a problem. When does it start being a problem? When one of the courtyards got two Jews. Because one of the courtyards got two Jews. So then already you need Eruv, and once you need Eruv, so there's a whole concept of Drisas Regel, which kicks in, which is going to create a problem. Okay? So as long as you avoid the problem of Drisas Regel, you're okay. Rabbi Bob Shem Rabbi Yehuda said, Mishayesh lo daka lifnei beiso, kavah asar tfachim. Somebody's got in front of his house a barrier which is 10 tfachim high. B'Yisrael eino oser. So if his neighbor is a Jew, they don't need Erev Chatzeros. Because the Jew is trusted not to go beyond the barrier. So they don't need an Erev in their Chatzer. B'Yakum oser. However, by Goy Asas, as we said, Goyim, they don't pay attention to the barriers, they just go right around them, over them, under them. Now, Mechav Bishit doesn't write Bo. This seems to be a contradiction, Rabbi Bo. Very cool comparison. Because I'm a Rabbi Bo. Rabbi Bo said, Rabbi Yehuda B'Shem Shmuel, name Rabbi Yehuda, name Shmuel. Koitzu Shekifu Sulamos. If you have since I had to pay your Shchaya, it's very convenient. It's good if I can find it. Well, it should be the ladders on both sides. You see? You have ladders on both sides of a wall. Ladders here, ladders there. Now normally if there's a wall between two things, you can't make an area between the two, right? But here the ladder's going up and down the walls on each side. Too bad. According to Rabbi Bo, it doesn't work. They cannot join together. So we see here that ladders are not considered to be an opening. So if that's the case, where the guy lives in the upstairs, and he makes a dock on the bottom, why is he considered to answer me? Ladders don't overcome a wall. So even though he's got a ladder coming down, since I have a daka in front of that, and he allegedly respects the daka, that should suffice. Just like over here, the ladders do not overcome the wall, so to his ladder down should not overcome the wall in front of it, right? Rabbi Yisrael Rabun, Taman Ayidei Sulamos should be Ein Idoin Kibsachin. The Sulam does not make this as if it's an opening. However, Brahmacha, but here, that's because you don't have to go up. But here, where does the goy live? And that which went up must come down. Yeah, but the ladder's there. The ladder's there. So the guy's gonna come down, and that's why you say the barrier in front does no good. But here, there ain't the people over here don't have to go up. So therefore, where the ladders go up, there ladders do not break the existence of a wall. But where ladders coming down from an upper residence, of course, since the guy is eventually going to come down, he won't respect the barrier, and therefore the barrier is not valid, and therefore you must be socher rishus from him. Baruch Hashem, tonight we did 2 blocks. Feel vindicated.